Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Making It on Mondays. My name is Louise Jeffrey. I hope you are all well and that you all had a beautiful weekend. If you're in Sydney, we had amazing weather, which is good and is really nice for a change. All right, I'm just going to check my setup because I'm getting a notice saying that this connection is a little slow. Looks like it's good. I hope that it is. Let me know if not. And if you're online, love to know that you're here. And, if you've got any questions along the way today, please let me know. So, as I said, my name is Louise Jeffrey. I'm an acupuncturist, a practitioner of Chinese medicine, and I'm a mindset coach. And hi Sarah, and I'm your Making It on Mondays host along with Amy, the lovely Amy Forth. So today we're going to talk about meditation and fertility, and we're going to talk about whether meditation is actually worth it. Now, meditation and mindfulness have become such big buzzwords over the past 5 to 10 years. So let's look specifically at meditation and let's have a look at its impact on our chances of conceiving, because obviously that's the most important thing that we want to take out of today. Is meditation worth it? Is it going to positively impact my chances of falling pregnant? So we're going to spend about 10 minutes together today. And as I said, let me know if you've got any questions. I'd also love for you to let me know in the comments box if there's anything that I share today that resonates with you, or if there's anything that you'd like to add from your own experience with meditation or anything else. All right, beautiful. So the question here today is, can meditation positively impact my fertility? Well, the simple answer to this is yes. And how do we know this? Well, to be clear on why and how this is true, what we really need to do is we need to look at the link between stress and fertility, because that's really where the answer lies. So let's have a little look at stress first, and then we'll look at meditation. What do we know about stress? Well, we know that stress affects our health, and we know that it affects our physical body, our physical health. And we know that when our cortisol and our adrenaline levels stay elevated for long periods of time, that our body really starts to function suboptimally. All right. In other words, the body systems and organs get thrown out of balance. And I'll give you an example. Research tells us that stress significantly reduces the probability of conception every day during the fertile window. So during our fertile period, if we're stressed, we have a significant reduction in the probability of conception, right? And we also know from research that women with the highest levels of stress markers are twice as likely as those with the lowest levels to experience infertility, right? And this is really because stress increases the activity of the HPA axis. And what happens is that this decreases our reproductive functions. And what you really need to know about this, if you don't want to go into this too technically or medically, is that what happens is that increased cortisol, right, over an extended period of time impacts our reproductive hormones, okay? And so you've heard me touch on this in various other lives. Stress plays a major part in our reproductive health. Okay, so we've gone over how stress affects fertility, but what about meditation and stress? Well, there are many studies that we've seen over the years that support the use of meditation as a stress reduction tool. There's one really good 2021 randomized control trial that found that meditation and mindfulness, so they had a specific program of meditation and mindfulness, was found to significantly reduce stress in women who've had multiple miscarriages. Okay, so we know obviously trying to conceive and having miscarriages is incredibly stressful for anyone to go through. And in this particular study, they also found out that mindfulness was really helpful for improving the mental health and relationships of women who are undergoing IVF. Okay, so I've just realized I haven't switched my phone off. Give me one sec. Don't want to be caught with a phone call in the middle of this or the phone ringing. All right. So how does meditation work to reduce stress? Well, we know that, and we know this from research, that meditation counters some of the negative effects of stress, right? And how it does this is that it helps to balance the hormones of the endocrine system, as I said, right? The endocrine system is your hormones, and we're specifically talking about reproductive hormones, but I'm just going to talk about the overall endocrine system first. We know that meditation counters some of the negative effects of stress in 3 ways. First one is, we know that meditation can reduce cortisol levels. Now, as mentioned previously, as what I said earlier, meditation has shown some really good results in reducing cortisol. But not only that, in one other study, they actually found that meditation was a significant contributor in the restoration of ovulation. And this was in around 75% of women who were experiencing functional hypothalamic amenorrhea, which in layman's terms is just a loss of periods, right? Or an ovulation, so somebody who's not ovulating. Now, this may be because, as I said earlier, excess cortisol is responsible for the decrease of the surge of LH, or luteinizing hormone, which triggers ovulation, all right? So cortisol interferes with luteinizing hormone, which is part of our endocrine system, part of our reproductive hormones, and meditation reduces cortisol levels. All right. Number 2, how else does meditation reduce stress? Well, the second way it may do this is that meditation helps to reduce insulin resistance. Now, we know that insulin resistance can impair ovulation, right? And that insulin resistance also contributes to the development of PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, PCOS makes up around 35% of female infertility cases, but there's been some really good research that shows that transcendental meditation, which is just a form of meditation, may reduce insulin resistance in those that practiced it, right? And so what it seems is that meditation may work, to affect our cortisol's negative influence on glucose uptake during times of stress, okay? So does this make sense? Again, it's around how meditation impacts cortisol during times of stress, and this obviously has an effect on our glucose uptake and therefore our insulin resistance. And then finally, the third way that meditation can reduce stress is by balancing our reproductive hormones. Now, this is what I've said earlier, not just through cortisol, but what we know is that the endocrine system is always in a fine state of balance, right? And that when we have, these fluctuations in cortisol, when cortisol stays up for a long period of time, because if we have short little bursts of cortisol every now and again, that's not a problem. But what happens with prolonged periods of stress is that cortisol stays elevated. This really throws our endocrine system out. And I'll give you an example, around the reproductive hormones. If we have low progesterone levels, for example, then it can be very difficult for an embryo to implant in the uterine lining. We know that progesterone is responsible for building a thick lining, for raising our body temperature so that we can maintain a pregnancy, but it's really difficult for the embryo to implant if it doesn't have progesterone. So if meditation can help to balance our reproductive hormones, and if meditation reduces stress, then it will be helping to improve our chances of conceiving. So to summarize what I've said today, meditation can be really helpful for fertility. And it's mainly in the sense that it reduces stress, which positively impacts our cortisol and therefore regulates our endocrine system. So as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely worth the 10 to 20 minutes per day. I know that we're all time poor. I know that we live in a modern world where we're running our lives at a fast pace, and we're working jobs. We've got a lot of commitments. Perhaps we've got to fit IVF into the mix and all our emotions that are going on. And I know that we're all time poor. But I tell all of my patients that are trying to conceive that it's so important to practice meditation daily, right? Even if it's only for 10 minutes, but 10 to 20 minutes is ideal. I mean, I, for one, practice meditation every day, and I've done so for quite a few years now, and it's really changed my life for the better, and it's improved my health so much. It was one of the key things that was really helpful in sorting out a really difficult autoimmune skin condition that I had. So I'm going to post after this in a separate post some great fertility meditations for you that you can use daily throughout your cycle to support you on your fertility journey. Now, if these would be useful for you, please let me know in the comments box. I'd love to hear. And if you want them emailed to you, I can do that too. So that's it for now. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, let me know. And I'll be back next week at the same time. Signing off now. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye for now.